Welcome our viewer to our session today. In the studio are actually my students. They can introduce themselves.
Thank you very much. My name is Linus Odhiambo. I'm a university student in Kenya and I'm privileged to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, good.
And my name is Julius Omondi. I'm also a university student in Kenya, privileged to be here with Dr.
Yeah, thank you very much. He has actually introduced me partly. My name is Dr. Christine Owinyi. We are here to talk about my journey. Why my journey? It's all about the driving force behind the things that I'm doing behind the scenes that are making a difference in whatever I do. And this is about my driving motto, that is going beyond the obvious. I don't know if my students are interested in knowing what going beyond the obvious really means. Yeah, maybe I should start by saying that going beyond the obvious is a motto that I came up with when I was still very young. Immediately I finished my secondary school education, that is way back in 1994. I actually attended a seminar where the facilitator there, who was actually a pastor, was talking about going beyond. So when I listened to the sermon, I thought, there is something I can do beyond what I have been doing. So that is how going beyond the obvious was born. So throughout my journey, throughout my life since then, I have remained focused on going beyond the obvious. Because going beyond the obvious to me means doing something extra, going an extra mile, doing something that people might feel like, we don't think somebody like that should do that. Yeah, that is the driving force behind going beyond the obvious. Yeah, and in fact, right now you're asking, what is it? On the studio, these are my students, and imagine it is my students to interview their lecturer. It is already going beyond. Yeah, Linus, you say you wanted to ask something.
Yeah, I wanted to ask now. When you talk of going beyond the obvious, may go in different subjects. I'm just interested in, like, you're a doctor. Mostly, you said your inspiration started a long time ago. So, in the field of research as you are involved, how do you ensure that you go beyond what is just required of you?
When we talk about in my field of research, I do things beyond that particular line where I am inclined to. Like if I did education, that I should just do things that are related to education. I go outside education and do things that are outside education. For example, mental health, education, matters to do with sustainability, matters to do with the environment, matters to do with spirituality. So it is beyond what is actually required of me as a professor in the line of education. Yeah, you also wanted to say something, or you wanted to ask a question?
I do have a question. When you began by saying that you first came across this mantra of going beyond the obvious, it was when you were in a church setup. It was your pastor or your minister who gave you the idea. So is it safe to assume that Christine is a God-driven person who is also looking to go beyond the obvious in matters church or in matters ESD? Tell us about your religious life or your religious journey that made you come across the sermon that made you go beyond the obvious.
That is interesting. Yeah, it is true. I am a Christian from the name Christine. Maybe I should have introduced my name. Yeah, because my name means a lot. And this is how I usually introduce myself, that it came a time my mother was heavy enough to get a baby. Birds were singing in the air. Christians were in church, waiting for a baby to be born. And which baby was this? The baby was Christ. Boop, a baby was born. The nurse shouted, "Baby girl!" Now looking for a name next to Christ, just like Christian, not far from Christmas. And that was my name, Christine.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You have such a rich story behind your name.
Yes.
It's poetic.
yes.
Did you know Christine, whenever you call her, her answering tone will always tell you what her name really means. That's where I actually came up with the question from, because her skiza tone is always, do you know what Christine means? Christine means this and that. So I really took an interest on knowing, because not many people have a story behind their names, but
Yes.
apparently you do, and it's really inspiring.
Yes, and that already is actually going beyond. It is important to understand what is the origin of your name. What can you relate your name to? Why were you called that name? Not just taking it and running with it, being proud that I am this is my name, without really understanding what is the meaning of your name. So in essence, going beyond, we have to start from the point of asking the question why. Yeah, why? So going beyond is about why. Why am I doing this? What is the driving force? Why should I do something extra beyond what others expect me to do? Why should I go an extra mile? Basically, because already I have informed you that I'm a Christian, I do a lot of Bible reading. I listen to so many speakers from the Christian perspective, like Joel Osteen is actually my inspiration, because he keeps on telling us, don't look at things just the way every other person looks at things. When you are sick, don't say, "Oh, I am sick." Say, "Oh, I am healed." You know, you look at things differently. So that is what it means to go beyond. And what is driving me to do the things that I'm doing and the way I am doing them? For example, I work in an institution, and it is expected that I should be in the office by maybe 8:39 and leave the office at 5. You know, that is the stipulated time. Yeah, but when I look at my motto, my mantra, going beyond the obvious, sometimes I can find myself in the office by 7. I can find myself leaving the office at 7. Not because, not because I want somebody to notice that I have done that, but simply because it is in me. I am driven by my mantra, going beyond the obvious. So that during that extra time, I'm doing something extra to grow me. To grow me so that I can help the people outside in the society. So going beyond the obvious, it means doing something that is extraordinary. Really something when you look at it, not when others look at it. When I look at it, I'm like, okay, today I have achieved much more than I could have achieved if I did it up to this particular point. So that is why I have to talk about going beyond, and also inspire other people to think about how best can we go beyond the obvious. When you are assigned some work to do, what is the approach? Why are you doing that work? Why are you in that office? Why are you in that class to do that particular work? So the why question should be clear to you, so that the how to do it becomes very easy. So if your why question answers back to you that it will satisfy my ego, that is the answer I usually look for. Why am I doing this? I'm not doing it because so and so said go and do it, but because I want to be satisfied that I have given my best. So that is the basis behind my mantra, going beyond the obvious. So I usually say I am a GBO girl, going beyond the obvious girl, all the time. I want you to watch me, all the things that I do as your facilitator, as your lecturer, as your mother. I want you to look at me and see what exactly is beyond here? Yeah? So that you also learn from it as my students. Yeah.
And what you've just said about going beyond the obvious, and sometimes you're given something to do and you do it as if no one is looking. It has raised an impressive notion in me that you find most youth today, we want to do things, they say, do the bare minimum. There's a mantra going on, do the bare minimum. Don't go next, don't do what is not needed of you. Yeah, I think your initiative of going beyond the obvious has really provoked positive attitude in me. I think that is a way that most of us and even other youths in society can pick to actually do things.
And those who are Christians will agree with me that the Bible says that do it as though you're doing it unto the Lord. Not that you're doing it for somebody, a human being to see. Do it because the person who is omnipresent, who is everywhere, can see what you're doing, and not because you are expecting God to do something for you, but because you are doing it as though you're doing it unto the Lord. Even if it means cleaning the house, just mopping the house, do it to your best. Give it your best service, so that as you leave the house, when you look behind, you're like, wow, I did my best. Make sure you get to the corners, clean. If possible, clean the windows, clean the window sills, clean the table, go around the table, you know, do something beyond what anybody else could imagine you could have done. Yeah.
That's really inspiring, Daktari. You have really revoked something interesting in me. Just like my fellow student has said that you are actually challenging the status quo. As the youths nowadays, they believe in doing the bare minimum. They don't believe in going beyond what you are really talking about here. And as a follow-up question, I would like to ask, how can you encourage the youths out there? Because you know, a lot of Kenya's population is the youth actually. And most of the youth don't believe in going beyond the obvious. Because some of them have not been, they have tried going beyond the obvious, but some of their facilitators have not been able to actually see their, have not been able to see their potential in going beyond the obvious. So this has really made them regress in matters are going beyond the obvious. So what can you tell them so that they may continue to progress with going beyond the obvious instead of doing the bare minimum?
Yeah, let's go beyond the bare minimum. I want to encourage the youth out there. When you start thinking about doing something, remember the why question. And as I've always said, the why question is the golden question. When your why is clear, then the how is easy. So if you have that at the basis, then you go to these two words, want to and have to. Yeah, if I want to do something, I will do it from my heart. But if I have to do something, I will do it because so and so has said, go do it. Or I am doing it because I want so and so to see that I am doing it. So you're not motivated from within. So in case you really want to do something that will make an impact in the world, something that will take you to your destiny where God wanted you to be, you need to think about, what can I do extra? How can I put some extra energy into this? How can I do something more beyond what I have been given? For example, if I have been told, do this work up to this level, and when you are there, just stop. What if I went ahead and did something more? So the what if questions should be coming in. What if I do this? Yeah? What if I do this? What if I do this? So that as young people, we become critical thinkers, we become imaginative, we become problem solvers, because there are so many things surrounding us in this society that need us, that need our energy as young people. And the only way we can bring about the difference in the world is by going extra, getting some extra effort, going an extra mile. really to make a difference.
So thank you, Daktari, my colleague Linus, my fellow student. So Daktari, I just had a follow-up question to ask when you talk about going beyond the obvious. What sacrifices has it taken you as Dr. Christine to go beyond the obvious, and how have you been able to relate with people around you when you try to go beyond the obvious?
Well, maybe I will start by telling you that for me to do what I have said I am doing, or to do what I am encouraging everybody in the world to do, it doesn't just come. Yeah, it has to start from some point. And where is this? There has to be a connection between three things, and I usually call it the 3H analogy.
3H analogy.
Yes, the head, the heart, and the hands. Yeah, it is important to get a lot of information, to know so much about what is happening around you, to get this information. Like now we are trying to encourage people to go beyond the obvious. It is good that you are listening to us. But the thing is, what you are learning today, or what you are learning from whichever part, if it is in reading books, if it is in listening to inspirational speakers, if it is in listening to prophets or pastors, whoever it is not all about putting it in the head. And that is where we go wrong. You get it in the head and you're like, okay, I think I have understood. It goes beyond the head and goes to the heart. So the next H is the heart. Bring this concept, bring this knowledge to the heart. Have a relationship with what you are learning. Have a relationship with what you are seeing. Have a relationship with what you want to do, so that when it comes to the point of doing the thing or putting it down practically through the hands. So the last H is the hands. So that is the head, the heart, and the hands. So when it comes to putting to action, it becomes so easy. You don't struggle. So it is not about what are other people thinking about me. It is about what do I want to do, that I'm convicted that if I do it and do it well, it will make a difference in the society. So it is about we and not I anymore. It's not about thinking about how am I going to benefit. You're asking me, how do I get it? How do I benefit? I don't think so much about how am I going to benefit. Because where people have gone wrong is all the time thinking about what is in it for me. What is in it for me? And so that is why we are not able to go beyond the obvious. But if we start thinking about, is this good for my neighbors? Is this good for my students? Is this good? How will what I'm doing benefit my institution? You know, it is about us. Yeah, so that we stop talking about I, and go to we, us, because in the process I am in. So I am benefiting and everybody around me is benefiting. So it is not about enjoying it by my own self, but about every other person that surrounds me.
So what I picked from what you just said is that knowledge is not enough if we cannot act on it. And the fact that you can know so much and yet not know the right thing is very crucial for you to identify.
Exactly.
You also say that a very touchy subject, that you have to be able to actually be selfless in whatever you're doing. So it's not about you. You only find true satisfaction in what you're doing if it's not, you do it, but it's not to shine. How is it benefiting the people around you? And that brings me to my question that I wanted to ask you. As much as you have done various things and you've made a lot of sacrifices to do more than what you are capable of, and you've become this whole new person, what could you say are some of the benefits to actually doing and going beyond what you can?
Okay, as I've already indicated, it's about all of us. So moving out from the aspect of thinking about I must be the one to be seen. What I'm doing is not because I want to be seen by the world. It's because there is something God has put in me that I believe if I bring it out, I will benefit so many people in the society. If I kept it, then it's like having light that is put under the table. Yeah. And that is why I want to encourage everybody that if you have something that you can use to transform the society, bring it out. Don't put it under the table. Don't say that if I bring it out, people will see me as like I am proud. It's not about being proud. It is about bringing about the transformation that we are all looking for in the society, so that everybody, all of us together, are happy at the end. Mm-hmm. And you know, one thing that has derailed us from achieving what we want to achieve as humanity is because of competition. We are always in competition. I want to be more powerful. I want to be called like I am the most knowledgeable person in the world. I am the most rich person in the world. It is all about competition, competition, competition. And this competition has brought about the vices that we are not able to uproot in our society. For example, why are we complaining of people being corrupt? Yeah? Why are people being so arrogant? It's because of competition. So I want to encourage everybody, instead of competition, we embrace a term that I usually call collaboration. Collaborate more and compete less. Collaboration. Yes. Collaborate more and compete less. Because it's very difficult to withdraw competition completely. But if we bring on board collaboration to take 80% and competition to take 20%, then we will be better. And as we grow together, we'll have a better society to live in. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daktari. You always have ways of making me learn new mantras, new, what can I call them? New anthems. Like recently, you just taught us when we were in Ololua Primary School, when we were planting trees. You talked about give love, get love.
Yes.
That was something I learned from you. Now I'm learning collaboration, which is collaborate more and compete less. That is something that all of you out there can take with you home. That is something that all of you out there can start practicing on, and we reduce this competition and we have more collaborations. Daktari has really inspired me a lot, and I do have a follow-up question, but I don't know if it's safe to ask right now.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So talking about the head, heart, and hand analogy, which you've just spoken about, I would like, maybe there is somebody out there who is not very familiar with this type of analogy, which is the head, heart, and hand analogy. I would like for you to just explain them in simple language or in simple terminologies. What is the head, heart, and hand analogy? According to a person who is out there, who is like a student, or who is in the job market but doesn't have the academic experience to know more about the head, heart, and hand analogy. In simple terminologies, how can you explain it to them so that it may stick to their craniums even more?
Yeah, you know, let me put it simple like this. The head stands for the thinking. The way we think, the way we are like, I'm going to the garden, I just finish for the sake of finishing. Yeah, I am reading this book so that I can reproduce what I have read to do an exam. Are we there? But now we are saying we go beyond just things that rotate in the head. Yeah. For those that are learned, we'll talk about the cognitive domain. Are we together? Yeah. But in simple terms, it's about knowledge. Yeah, information, getting information, going out to, for example, we are in the electioneering period in Kenya. Everybody is talking about this and this is a good one, this is a bad one, this is, you know, it's all about getting information. Let us go beyond just getting information and internalize this information and have a relationship with it. The heart has to do with feelings. The heart has to do with passion. What you intend to do it with a lot of passion. If you put your energy there with passion, then whatever you are doing will come out successful. So everybody will be wondering, how did she manage? Why, you know, How did she manage to do all this alone? You know, you're like, they don't understand that it is not that you're doing it alone. It's because there is something behind what you're doing that is inspiring you to do the things you're doing. So the head, the heart, and the hands, think about it, know, listen, you know, everything. Have to learn about it, but bring it to the heart. If it is about maybe slashing the compound, do it with a lot of passion. Put some love in it. Yeah? If you put some love in it, even when you're slashing, you'll not even feel tired. Yeah, you'll not even feel tired. Even in the process you are singing, in the process you are thinking about something positive. Yeah, that is it. That is what head, heart, and hand analogy means.
Thank you, Dr.
All right.
Thank you very much, Dr. for the insight that you've given us. I want to tell you that Dr. has always been an inspiration to us when it comes to going beyond our potential, going beyond what we can do. And I believe that it's a concept that is applicable to everyone that is out there, and you can actually use it to develop more of what you can become than just what you already are. So for us, going beyond the obvious, going beyond what we can, you've always inspired us to look beyond the subject, to do more than what we are capable of. And it has pushed us and brought in us even some of the skills and attitudes that we didn't know we were capable of having. Okay. For that, we want to thank you. And we encourage everyone that is listening or viewing us to actually take up the challenge to become more than what you are capable of. Go beyond the obvious. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So
to my fellow students out there, just as a brief of what Dr. has said, you should know the difference between want to and have to. The moment you know the difference is when everything becomes different in your life. You have to know what you want, and you have to know what you have. So the want to and the have to, two different analogies. Understand them, and you'll be able to go beyond what is obvious. What is the obvious? Yeah. Thank you, Dr. I've really gotten what you've really said. I hope my fellow colleagues out there have gotten you as well.
Wow, thank you. And now this starts off our journey, opening the channel to be discussing about going beyond the obvious. What things in life can we do to demonstrate that we can go beyond the obvious? I am educated, I am a doctor. What can I do to demonstrate to the world that I'm actually going beyond the obvious? Welcome and follow us in our next channel, and we hope you will be there. You will continue, you will subscribe, you will like, you will follow us, and you will share what we are sharing, because we want to transform this world. Thank you.